by the docks, a lot of minnows, crabs.
All right, rolling on all fronts.
Rolling. Great. Do you want to say anything before we start, just to get out of the system?
One time I had this boil. Go ahead. It's all good.
Like, that's my story, I think.
No, mine was, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Did he tell you about that? It was bad.
We'll do that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So give us a background. Give us a background, both of you.
I'll let you go first.
When we met, I don't think either one of us thought for a hot second that we were meeting our spouse. Do you think?
No. No.
No.
Thought it was
I
at
don't
a
think
toga
so.
party.
Yeah, and the next day he came to Kinko's where I worked, and he was riding his bike. And I said, "That's a pretty green bike you have there." And he was like, "Do you remember meeting me last night?" Because it was early on in the night when we had met. And so anyway, we went out that next night. It was pretty, I think it was meant to be.
Interesting. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So we struggled. We got married and then had immediate struggles with fertility, as you all know.
Mm-hmm.
And that lasted about 5 years. But during that time, when you think you're at your lowest of lows, sometimes you get hit in the gut again. And that was when Shawn was diagnosed with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you're low. You think you're the lowest you're going to get. And then, you seem somehow sometimes to get just a little bit lower. And I think through all of that, we could have turned against each other, but instead we just kind of joined forces and decided that we weren't going to let those things, make a decision for us and how our life was going to turn out. So we just came out fighting.
I think it's been a lot of things changed. Looking at my life and realizing at 26, I think, when I got cancer, it was like, I'm not living life to the fullest. I'm not taking advantage of those things. I need to really, physically, mentally, spiritually, I'm not where I need to be. And because I was not an athlete before at all. At all. The first time I went running, I ran like a half a mile and I almost threw up. My heart was about to come out of my chest. And my whole premise was, I thought, physically, I've got to get myself better prepared. So if my cancer ever comes back, I want to be ready for it. Mentally, I've got to get my mind in a better place. And spiritually, I got to get more involved in church. I got to be the person that I need to be, that God wants me to be, and move in that direction. And, we kind of had that journey together, because there were times when I went through a pretty tough depression after that period. And she helped me, and, coming through that. And then, 6 years ago, she had cancer. And so then it was a little bit of the roles reversed, but it was kind of like we were used to it. It was kind of like, all right, here's our next challenge, and we're going to go through. And
It's kind of funny. I almost think in our lives when things were smooth sailing, albeit maybe for a couple of months or days, or sometimes even we've had a year with nothing dramatic happening or traumatic, we tend to argue a lot. But if we're down in the trenches, we hang in there. We know how to face it. So it's kind of funny. We're used to that turmoil, and we kind of take it in our stride now.
Yeah. Well, even, we see people that are really struggling with something going on in their lives that is really not that big of a deal. And we're like, you really got to put things in perspective. And sometimes, even with raising kids and talking with them, they have things that happen in their life that their whole world is coming crashing down. They feel like it is anyway, but it's just a test, or it's just some homework. Let's put this in perspective and think about things. How do we get through it?
In 10 years, is this going to matter?
Yeah.
In 5 years, is this going to matter?
You guys have had the unique situation where both of you have gone through cancer, so you know what it's like to be the one in the doctor's office, but you also know what it's like to be the spouse.
Right.
Oh.
The support system.
What's harder? What's easier? What's it like being on both sides of that table?
I think it's harder. It's harder for me when she goes through it. I'm not a very empathetic person a lot of times, and I struggle with that. When it's me, I realize, okay, it's me. I can deal with this. I can get up and fight, and I can go. But when it's her, it almost, I kind of revert inward a little bit, and don't give her the support that she needs, I think.
That's not true.
Well, I struggle with it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
trying to get to that point, and so it was harder for me to see her go through it, because mentally I know what she's going through, and you know, a little bit of, well, I've been there, done that, and trying to help her get to that place where she helped me get.
You know, Shawn's an engineer, a mechanical engineer, so he knows how to fix things. This man, you all know, can fix anything. I mean, something, the microwave, the car, the television, anything. He
Except
can
dinner.
fix it.
I don't
He
fi-
can
I
fix
don't- I don't
anything
do
except
food.
dinner. That's always our joke. So when I was diagnosed with cancer and he couldn't fix it, I mean, I think that's a typical, even just typical for men usually, I think, is that, oh my gosh, I can't fix it. What am I going to do now? So I think he went into that mode of throwing his arms up in the air and saying, there's not going to be anything I can do. You got to figure this out. But we worked through that, and I think, you know, the years since my diagnosis and the years since his diagnosis, we figured out how we respond to different things, each of us. And I think you do that in marriage, whether you've been through cancer diagnosis or not. You just figure out what your spouse, what your partner, how they're going to respond, and you know how to respond because of that. So
I think it made us stronger together.
it really did.
'Cause, you know, we don't typically, sometimes we sweat the small stuff and we need those reminders of, hey, this is not a big deal, and get through that. But it's definitely brought us stronger together as a couple.
You mentioned being prepared, or the physical aspect, the mental aspect, the spiritual aspect. Does one of those come easier or harder than the others, or are they all in line or out of line? What's your thoughts on that?
For me, the physical is probably the easiest. You know, and physically, if I pick an event and want to do something, Ironman, whatever it may be,
Like the Louisville Ironman.
like the Louisville Ironman,
Whose
then,
idea
you
was
know, a friend of mine got me into this. I don't know what it, but you know, I can visualize that. I can see that, and I know I need to do this, 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 and this. It's pretty
You have
straightforward.
steps to it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The mental and the spiritual is I think are the harder ones. Is, you know, dealing with day-to-day life, and you know, routine things in marriage and kids and work and you know, all the different things going on. That's not a plan and a step-by-step thing you
It's
have to
not
deal
concrete,
with. No,
yeah.
it's not. It's you know,
I'm sure the engineer in you would prefer to have a
I like a plan. You know,
Systematic.
I like a plan. You know, it's
See, I
hard
think
for me
the
to not.
opposite.
Yeah.
I think that the spiritual, immediately I go spiritual inward. We did a lot of praying together during those times of infertility. I mean, that's just one of those things that you just have to give it to God, because you know that's completely out of your control. I mean, so I think for me that comes easier, but I like that he's ready to, you know, come out with the gloves on and has a plan.
You know, the men's group has really done tremendous things for me in keeping me reminding of that, and those conversations that we have, and the books that we read, and you know, developing some of the friendships has helped me really build that spiritual piece and help that further along.
It's almost a mental workout or a mental
It really is.
regiment.
It really is.
I think that men's group has been a true blessing, because I think sometimes that's where, you know, men they don't have that as easily as women do, that, you
That's
know,
so true.
picking up your phone or calling your
Yeah.
you know, your friends and really confiding in them and talking to them about things. And I think that men's group and your morning breakfast has really allowed that for a lot of people.
It gives you so much something to relate to. There's another guy in the men's group, and we've formed an accountability group together, and he's an engineer
That's
too.
great.
So he and I think a lot alike and see things a lot alike, and it's a friendship that's one of those things that we don't talk every day, or we don't talk once a week, usually every other week, but it's one of those that I know at any moment I could pick up the phone and call Ron, and
That's great.
you know, he would be
Yeah,
there.
that's great. And you realize that other people are going through things that,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
have obstacles.
You're not
that-
alone.
No.
Yeah.
You do have to be very intentional about those relationships. And I think you're right, men have a harder time being intentional about forming those friendships and relationships than we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You know, outside my brothers, one brother I'm a little closer to than the other just because of the age difference. But outside of that, I haven't had a lot of relationship with other guys and things. And over the last few years, I've seen a major uptick in that, but also an uncomfortable piece with that too.
Yeah.
It's been a challenge for me in some ways, and other ways it's been easy. But it's been that mental exercise of going through that and working with those.
Well, I love that we met when I passed my Olympic flame
Yeah.
to you for the Salt Lake City Games, and from that, over the years, we've gotten to know each other better,
Yeah.
and now you two are, have become friends. And
It's so interesting how
and
that just.
yeah,
Who would have thought that day?
met on a bus that day.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So
And we have watched a lot of sunrises.
Indeed,
That's
we
not
have.
something I say with a lot of men.
You've seen more sunrises with him than I have.
I bet
Yeah.
I like to sleep.
Yeah.
and that's okay.
I bet I have.
Elizabeth and I'll watch the sunset
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, we'll watch the sunsets.
We take some pictures together.
Yeah.
We'll share the pictures.
That's awesome.
And from a mental aspect, whether it's the physical, whatever it is, do you have that voice in your head, that voice that questions, that doubts, whether it's cycling or whatever, that
Oh,
can I do this?
yeah.
What am I doing? What did I sign up for?
Yeah, all the time. Even yesterday, when we went and
Do
ride.
you have thoughts like that on our bike?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Is that what it looks like from the front of you?
I mean, you're out there and you're thinking, okay, what am I doing? I gotta keep going. I got another 100 miles to cover. I'm halfway there, and then you think about halfway. I gotta turn around and do this exact thing one more time, and yeah, I mean it's constant, but at the same time, you also think I'm halfway there. I've just got to go the other distance. I've done this once. I can do it again. And I think the spiritual mental aspect of that is too. You have to keep reminding yourself, and you have to keep thinking about that. The struggle is there. The struggle is always going to be there. But how do you overcome that? And how do you get past that?
It's
So-
probably comforting for Dan to hear you saying that.
That's very comforting.
Since you're such a strong biker, but it's also just human to know that.
Because I'm usually going, I wish Shawn would slow down.
Well, the bike is what I love the most, so that's my strong point. But
Yeah. And I think as transitioning that to as cancer patients, that little what if scenario that pops in your head that could
Always.
absolutely
Yeah.
eat you alive if you let it.
it do.
Always
You do.
a running track in your head. And I don't know of anybody that is a cancer survivor that doesn't have that. I've never heard anybody say, well, I never think about it again.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
makes you feel normal, I guess. But
It might
yeah.
fade, but it's always.
Yeah, it's always,
always
there.
there.
It
Yeah.
doesn't take, there are times that it takes over and, you really need to get some help for that. But it's just that little bitty noise in the back of your head, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What's this lump about? I mean, what's that?
Oh,
what's that
it's always
spot? What's
there.
this?
Sure.
That feels weird. What's, I have a headache. Could it be, you just
Right.
all the time.
Yeah.
Mm.
And with skin cancer, I mean that has a high recurrence.
Yeah, absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. It's like
Especially in his case.
yeah. The type I had, it actually with life insurance was a big struggle for us because I had to wait 10 years to get it, and then when I did, I got turned down and all this stuff. And come to find out, which was also kind of a weird reminder, is that if you had lung cancer or you had some sort of intestinal cancer, your chances of it coming back are very, very small. But melanoma, they're very high. So
So they don't want to insure you.
they don't want to insure you based upon that, and that was kind of a.
It's a little unsettling.
It was very unsettling when I
It's a
heard
reminder you don't want to hear,
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
definitely.
And being in the sun all the time with training, that kind of worries me. But he's really good about wearing a sunscreen, careful about all that stuff. But I mean, he's had melanoma in places that aren't affected by the sun. So,
That's a
Nice
nice way to
way
put
to
that.
say
Yeah,
so I mean, I don't know that sun exposure really makes that much difference in his type
Gotcha.
of
Yeah.
melanoma he's had. So
Gotcha. And one thing that I love about observing you two as partners is, to me, it's not Shawn and Elizabeth, it's Shawn and Elizabeth.
well, thank you.
yeah,
I love the way you
Yeah.
guys support each other, both you and Claire know what it's like to be Ironman widows for
Exactly.
several months.
Not the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also I know Shawn's incredibly supportive of you with your work and
Oh my
your
gosh,
classes.
he works really 3 jobs. You know, his job that he gets paid for, and then supporting me so that, you know, I can fulfill my dream, and then, you know, training. So, you know, and then, you know, other volunteer work and whatever. I mean, you know, it's a full schedule.
Yeah. Is that something you think because of your journey, you click better at that? Would you think that would be the same regardless of your past if it was smooth sailing?
No, I don't think
No.
so. I think the thing that with the My 359 that grabs me so much is that you have to take advantage of everything that life has to offer. You have to have that drive, and I do better, you know, with the 3 jobs than I do with just the 1 job because
Yeah.
it keeps me focused. I know I'm contributing to things. I know I'm being a better person and trying to be a better person every day. And I need to be a better person. And you know, so going through that, I don't sit still very well. It's hard
No,
for
he
me
doesn't.
sometimes. But to be able to do that, and especially with her case, in her studio and everything, I don't like to be in the limelight a lot. I'm very happy with helping her from the behind the scenes and seeing her flourish and her business take off and all that stuff.
He's so sweet.
I'm right where I want to be with that. You know.
He
So,
is.
And those of us who bike with you, you know, we affectionately refer to you as the bike whisperer.
Yes, he also runs a bike shop.
Yeah.
The bike shop, which is a great shop.
Right.
But I love the fact that, you know, you're incredibly skilled at your craft, but more than that, you're so willing and freely help and give it away to others.
Wow.
Which, for a guy who can barely screw in a pedal, to have that is just
He loves
is
it.
awesome.
He
I
loves
appreciate that.
it. I think part of with him being so busy is that he appreciates when he has a pocket of an hour time, he's going to do something with it. You know, he's scheduling that because he knows it's so scarce. And so he loves being able to help people with their bikes.
Sometimes to a fault.
Yeah.
I mean, none of it help people with bikes. I mean, I enjoy helping other people. There's a great
Yeah.
deal of not gratitude, but a great deal of accomplishment from giving to others
Absolutely.
and helping, and that camaraderie, you know, that you get from some of that.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference.
Yeah. Let's kind of build on that a little bit, because I know for me, accountability is significant. It's
Yeah.
huge. If I had to go out and ride on my own or go swim 2 mornings a week on my own, I'm not sure I would do that.
No, I don't think I would either. I mean, I parts of it, the bike, yeah. I mean, I love the bike. The running aspect, you know, my knees are starting to be, you know, tell me I'm 46 years old. You need to slow down a little bit. And the swimming, definitely not. Although I love swimming,
We
I
love swimming,
love
don't
swimming.
we?
love swimming, but you know, without you and Adam to be there, you know, sometimes I'm getting out of bed going. The only reason I'm getting out of bed is because I know you guys are getting out of bed too. You know, and I don't want to let you guys down, and you know, you kind of help feed off each other with that. So having that accountability of, you know, and signing up for those things, you know, a race, that's a way to keep me accountable, because I know I got to do this on this date, and if I'm going to make it to the finish line, then I've got some things I got to do to get there.
Yeah.
So,
Let's talk about Louisville.
yeah.
Whose idea was this?
I think there was another guy that signed up first before me, and you know, being the compassionate individual that I am, I thought I can't let you do it alone. So
So 7 days from today.
yeah,
Wow.
What's
Wow. We're going to have to get up early.
We'll be doing it all day long.
yeah. We'll be around.
We'll be
No
around.
sunsets.
Get there by
No
midnight.
rush.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
No rush.
no sunrises for us.
So it's 40 some odd degrees. You're standing on the banks of the Ohio River, about to jump in to go the wrong way
Yeah,
up the river
up the river.
for
Why you got
a
to put it
long
like
day.
that?
Whose idea was that?
I'm kind of scared.
What are you feeling at that moment? What do you anticipate feeling at that moment?
Oh, I'm going to be nervous. I mean, I know I'm already nervous now thinking about it.
Do you wake up thinking about it, or is it just me that does that?
No, I wake up thinking about it. I definitely wake up thinking about it.
Consuming them, Elizabeth.
It really is. I mean, because it's scary to think that for 14 hours, 15, 16 hours maybe, that we're going to be, keeping our heart rate up and moving and what's going to hurt and what's not going to hurt and what's going to stop working, or, it's a variety of different things. But at the same time, it's a little bit exhilarating, because the feeling of crossing that finish line and saying, I did that. Because there were a part of me, absolutely,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
true.
And there was a part of me, especially before cancer, not in a million years. I mean, I might run if
He
somebody was
wasn't like this
chasing
when
me.
I married him.
So-
Was he like this? No, I
Mm-mm.
know. It's crazy.
But
Cancer does funny things to
Yeah.
you.
it does.
It
It does.
I think there are a lot of people, though, who are very envious of your drive.
Oh,
You know,
I
your
know.
guys
I'm envious
have
of
that
it.
drive.
They do. They have
Mhm.
it.
yeah.
They're
You
gonna
guys
make
go
it.
from one thing to the next thing, you know.
I think we need to take a break.
Yeah.
Let's take a few weeks off.
Yeah,
at least, and
definitely.
just-
My favorite
Definitely.
sign that I've seen to make for the race is if your relationship is still working, you didn't train hard enough.
I hadn't seen
They're
that one.
on the verge, aren't
Yeah.
they?
yeah.
On the verge.
And so 15 hours of push,
Yeah.
physically but mentally. What do you think is going to be harder, the physical aspect or the mental
Oh,
aspect?
I think it's the mental aspect of it. Having done the half Ironman that we did last year, the physical part,
Which we thought was crazy.
we thought was nuts the first time we signed up.
I
We
remember
thought,
thinking about riding 56 miles on a bike. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
who does that?
And that was one of those things that I'd always had it as a long-term goal to do that. And it wasn't until I read your book that then I was like,
It's
I'm
true.
signing up. And so that's when I reached out and said, thank you, I appreciate that. And that's when we realized that we both had signed up for the same thing.
I remember that moment. I was
yeah.
sitting
Isn't that
in
crazy?
my office at
Did you
home,
know
and I
that?
got your text.
Yeah.
I was like, which one are you doing? It's like,
That
wow.
is, I forgot that you guys
Yeah.
didn't sign up for that together.
No.
Isn't
no,
that
it
crazy?
was just kind of destiny, I think.
Yeah.
And you know that's when the training started, and then we thought,
That's when the madness started.
It-
and,
yeah.
Madness
Yeah.
started.
well, if we can do this, we can do the full one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, we
Oh,
can't
well,
go this far without
yeah.
Well,
going
of
that far.
course.
I know, right?
I mean, it's just
So,
double.
Yeah.
And now many
Twice as
Oh,
much.
Yeah.
many sunrises later,
Yeah.
many early mornings, watching the sunrise, riding through beautiful, beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
That's something we talk about on the bike a lot.
Yep.
Which is just how you're out there early morning, and the fog's lifting, and you're going through these farms, and dogs are chasing you.
Dogs are chasing you.
No cars on the road.
Vultures are sweeping down at you. I mean, it's-
Gosh.
Yeah, it's just a the journey. It's been the journey
yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
The finish will be a unique stamp on just an incredible journey.
And doing all of those things,
Yeah.
because we always have an adventure in one way or the other. We either run through floods, or the heavens open up on us, or
Cross
dogs
ferries.
chasing. We cross ferries. I mean, we
A
think we're on the
river can't
44.
stop us.
Yeah, we think we're on the 44-mile route when we're actually on the 57-mile route.
Yes.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
so,
What when it's all said and done that night, what's going to be the main emotion?
yeah, wow, I hadn't really thought about that. I think it's going to be a feeling of accomplishment, and being able to share that one with you, but then to also share that with Elizabeth and the boys, to know that they put a lot with me being gone to do this, because a lot of times I felt a little selfish about doing this and kind of going through that process. I know in the long run it's going to make me a better person. I hope that the boys see that going forward.
It's a good example. It's a very
Yeah,
good
I
example.
think
And I
that-
think
I think
I mean
that
this is
too.
more than just about a race, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think the journey to get there, the mental, the spiritual, it's a culmination of how do you make yourself a better person, and different people will pursue that in different ways. The physical part just helps me maintain that and keeps the mental and physical going.
Well, I love that your children, our children, see us set goals and then see that there's work involved in
Yeah.
reaching those goals. You don't just come upon them.
They're
you
not
know.
handed to you.
You don't just come upon those
No.
easily.
Nothing
and
worth having is
it's
handed
good
to you.
for them to see that, you know, we have to work for these
Yeah.
And
things.
your children need to see you being passionate about something besides just them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they need to
That's
see
true.
that, you know, there's a bigger world out there.
Yeah,
Indeed.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's next? Or should we get through this one first?
I think we'll get through this one first, and then
Can we
we've
talk
gotta
next
say.
week?
What about a little rim to rim to rim 2019?
I think there's a little something going on in
Mm.
2019.
Yeah. Thinking about
We
it.
already do have something up
Yeah.
next, don't we?
Yeah.
You do.
So rim to rim to rim. I've never even done rim to rim, so
And there's no swimming involved, so
no,
you'll be pretty
there's not
excited about
no
that.
swimming involved.
Should not be any swimming.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
There
any
shouldn't be
swimming
any
involved.
There is.
Swimming is
Something
a
is-
big. We got a lot of
You
big
took the wrong
problems.
turn.
We have big
Yeah.
problems.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
no cold water. Oh.
No cold water. Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you, man.
Hey,
It's been a great
I couldn't
journey.
have done it without you, brother.
We're proud of you guys.
Yeah.
We're so
We're proud of you guys.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be.
We're so proud of you all.
It's a team effort for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for being the inspiration.
Oh man, thank you for being the inspiration.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear.
Love you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week in Louisville.
Absolutely. Carry the torch.
That's right.
We should bring the torches.
You should.
Can you hand them to us as we're coming?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm afraid I'd break it.
Yeah, that's right.
You
It's,
might drop it.
It's
You
precious.
don't want that
Yeah.
to happen.
it's precious.
Wear the suit. Still got the suit.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might need it.
Y'all would be so cute.
You might need that.
It's gonna be a little chilly.
Is there anything that we haven't touched on that?
I don't think so.
Mm. Look at your shoes.
I'm nervous for you all.
our job is to get all this into
32 seconds.
Get the
Yeah.
dog out.
a few
The
minutes.
dog lining out, and
You want to head out?
Yeah, I gotta go, guys.
Could you hear the dog whining?